Maya sat by her window, sipping lukewarm coffee as the city buzzed awake outside. Another Monday, another meeting, another day alone. Her phone buzzed with a message from Ria. "One last date, Maya. Please. You'll thank me later." Maya sighed. She had sworn off dating after her last disaster. Rolling her eyes, Maya typed back, "Fine. One last blind date. But if he's weird, I'm done forever." Across town, Aarav Malik, a marketing executive, was dragging himself out of bed. His roommate Kabir leaned in with a grin, waving a phone. "Guess what, Mr. Lone Wolf? You've got a blind date." Aarav groaned. "Not this again." Kabir threw him a shirt. "Come on, man. You need to stop flirting with deadlines and try real people." Aarav smirked. Real people disappoint. Neither knew their friends had set them up with each other. Maya stood before her mirror, staring at herself. "You can do this," she whispered, but her reflection didn't seem convinced. The evening breeze brushed against her hair as she walked toward the meeting place, a cozy cafe known for its dim lights and soft jazz. Aarav parked his car nearby, exhaling heavily. "It's just a coffee, not a commitment," he muttered, but his pulse quickened. Inside the cafe, the low hum of conversations filled the air. The host guided Maya to a corner table reserved under AM. The initials made her smile unknowingly. She checked her watch. He was late. "Typical," she muttered. Just then, the doorbell chimed. When she looked up, her smile froze. Walking toward her, confident smirk, same eyes from college, was Aarav Malik. Both stared for a moment that lasted too long. "You've got to be kidding me," she whispered. Aarav's jaw dropped. "You?" The waiter, unaware of the tension, smiled. "Blind date for two?" Maya and Aarav answered in unison. "It's not what it looks like." They sat down reluctantly. "Let's just get through this," Maya said through clenched teeth. "Agreed," Aarav replied, forcing a smile. An accidental spill of water made them both laugh despite themselves. The ice began to melt. For a fleeting second, Maya saw something different in his eyes. Not arrogance, but warmth. Aarav noticed the same in hers. As the scene faded, the narrator's voice lingered. "Sometimes, fate doesn't give second chances. It gives you the same person, in a different light." Maya's eyes froze as the tall figure approached her table. The confident stride, the familiar smirk. Impossible. Her breath caught. Aarav Malik, the man she'd sworn never to see again, stood right in front of her. Aarav blinked, equally stunned. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered. Maya's jaw clenched. "Trust me, I wish I were." The air thickened. The jazz music in the background suddenly felt too loud, the lights too warm, the world too close. A cheerful waiter appeared. "Table for two?" Aarav sighed. "Unfortunately, yes." Maya rolled her eyes. They sat opposite each other. "So," Maya said coldly, "how's life ruining other people's presentations?" Maya's thoughts raced. Out of every person in this city, why him? Why tonight? Aarav leaned back, trying not to laugh. Fate had a strange sense of humor. Every sentence was coded in sarcasm. Every glance, a silent duel. But under the irritation, something electric simmered. Maya crossed her arms. "You still think you're the smartest guy in the room?" Aarav chuckled. "Depends. Are you still in the room?" She caught herself smiling barely. He noticed. "There it is," he teased. Her smile vanished instantly. "Don't push your luck." The waiter returned with 2 steaming cups. "On the house. You look like you need it." Both laughed awkwardly. Aarav's gaze lingered for a second too long. Maya avoided his eyes, staring into her cup like it held all life's answers. "So," he said casually, "is this where you tell me you're still mad about college?" Maya glared. "Still? Try forever." He laughed, a real one. It broke the tension for a heartbeat. Maya's heart skipped unexpectedly. Their eyes met, the kind of look that feels like falling and fighting at the same time. Neither spoke. She finally looked away, pretending to check her phone. He smiled faintly. "Still pretending not to care, huh?" The narrator's voice lingered as the camera panned out. Sometimes, love doesn't arrive gently. It crashes through the doors of your past. Uninvited, unstoppable, unforgettable. Maya stared at the menu, refusing to meet his eyes. Aarav drummed his fingers on the table, equally stubborn. The silence was suffocating. So, he said finally, "You still take everything too seriously?" She didn't look up. "And you still think sarcasm is a personality?" Their waiter appeared, smiling awkwardly. "May I take your order?" Both answered in unison, "Coffee." Aarav's elbow accidentally nudged his cup, spilling a few drops of water. Maya flinched. He grabbed napkins instantly, embarrassed. When he fumbled and dropped the napkin dispenser, Maya couldn't help it. She laughed. Aarav looked stunned, then smiled faintly. The laughter eased the tension. "You haven't changed," she said softly. "Still a disaster in formal wear." They slipped into memory. "You sabotaged my college presentation," she accused. Her glare softened. His smirk faded. For a fleeting second, the air between them shifted, familiar yet foreign. The waiter returned with their food. "Enjoy," he said brightly, unaware of the storm he'd walked into, or maybe out of. Maya picked up her fork elegantly. "Don't think this means I'm staying long." Aarav smirked. "Wouldn't dream of it." He noticed the way her hair fell gently when she laughed again. She caught him staring. "What?" "Nothing," he lied. Minutes passed. Conversation flowed easier now, movies, work, random stories. Both forgot they were supposed to hate each other. "You've done well," he admitted quietly. "You always were driven." She paused, surprised. That almost sounded sincere. As she reached for her glass, their fingers brushed. A tiny pause, too brief to be casual. Both pretended not to notice. "Do you ever stop competing?" she teased. "Not when losing means you," he replied softly. Her smile faltered. Something inside her shifted. The sarcasm no longer felt safe. It felt like armor cracking. She looked away quickly. The waiter returned with dessert. "Compliments of the chef," he said. "You two have great chemistry." Both choked on their coffee. As they left the cafe, the rain had stopped. She walked ahead, smiling to herself. He followed, whispering, "Still think it's fate's joke?" The dinner ended awkwardly again, but this time with a strange calm. As the waiter placed the bill, Maya reached for her wallet, so did Aarav. Their hands brushed once more. "I've got it," Aarav said casually. "I can pay for my own dinner," Maya snapped. "I know," he replied, smiling softly. "But let me this once." They stepped outside together. The night air was cool, heavy with the scent of wet earth. Thunder growled in the distance. A single raindrop hit Maya's cheek. She looked up just as the heavens opened. Within seconds, the rain came crashing down. Cold, relentless, cleansing. Maya shrieked, darting for cover. Aarav laughed uncontrollably. They found refuge under a cafe awning, breathless and soaked. Maya pushed her wet hair back, glaring playfully. "You think this is funny?" she said. He grinned. "A little. You look like someone who just lost a fight with a waterfall." Maya tried not to laugh, failed. Aarav removed his jacket and held it out. "You'll catch a cold." "I'm fine." "Take it anyway." Their fingers brushed as she accepted. For a moment, silence. The rain became the only sound, steady, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Maya looked at him differently now, not as the arrogant boy from college, but as the man who made her laugh tonight. "Still think you're fate's biggest mistake?" he asked gently. She smirked. "I haven't decided yet." A gust of wind blew rain sideways, forcing them closer together. She gasped. He steadied her with a hand on her shoulder. Their eyes met, a second too long. No words, just heartbeats and rain. Maya quickly stepped back, laughing nervously. "Don't read into it." Aarav smiled. "Too late." They tried to hail a cab, none stopped. Maya groaned. "Perfect. Stuck with you in a thunderstorm." When thunder cracked, Maya flinched. Aarav instinctively reached out, his hand resting lightly on hers. Neither pulled away. The air between them felt alive. Fragile, real, unexpected. The narrator's voice lingered as camera zoomed out over the rain-soaked street. Sometimes, love doesn't arrive with roses and candles. Sometimes, it comes soaking wet, laughing under a storm. The rain slowed, and Maya decided to make a run for the next block to call a cab. "I'm done being soaked," she said, stepping off the curb. Aarav followed close behind, laughing. "Slow down. It's slippery." She turned her head with a teasing grin. "What, afraid I'll win the race?" Her heel caught the edge of a slick cobblestone. For a split second, time froze, then she slipped. Before she could hit the ground, strong hands grabbed her waist. Aarav pulled her close, closer than either expected. They stood frozen, his arms around her palms on his chest. The world blurred into rain and breath. Neither spoke. The only sound was the rhythmic tap of raindrops on the street, steady as their racing hearts. Maya's lips curled into a shaky laugh. "Guess I should have listened." Aarav smiled. "You never do." Their eyes met, a gaze longer than comfort allowed. She could see the sincerity in his expression, the softness she never noticed before. Maya's heart raced. Why does this feel different? She stepped back slightly, trying to steady her breath. Aarav broke the silence with a grin. "You know, most girls thank their hero after being saved." A nearby street vendor offered an umbrella. Aarav bought one instantly and opened it above her. "Truce?" he asked. They walked side by side beneath the umbrella. Their shoulders brushed occasionally, neither moved away. Inside her mind, Maya whispered what she'd never say aloud. "Why does it feel right standing next to him?" Aarav noticed her shiver and wordlessly adjusted the umbrella closer to her. His shoulder got soaked instead. She looked at him finally. "Thanks for catching me." He smiled softly. "Anytime." They stopped under the final lamppost before the corner. The golden light framed them perfectly, rain glistening around like falling stars. He looked at her lips, then caught himself. She felt it too. The air trembled with something unspoken. Maya took a small step back. "Good night, Aarav." He smiled faintly. "Good night, Maya." As she walked away, he watched her go, the rain finally easing, but the storm inside. They walked slowly along the quiet street, puddles glimmering under soft streetlight. The city seemed calmer now, as if holding its breath. Neither spoke. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was heavy with unspoken thoughts. They reached an intersection, two paths lit by different lamps. Maya stopped first. "This is my way." Aarav nodded, but his feet didn't move. "Right? Of course." His voice didn't match his words. "So, good night, Aarav," she said softly. He smiled faintly. "Good night, Maya. Get home safe." She turned to leave but looked back once. He was still standing there watching her, quietly as if memorizing her. For a heartbeat, neither moved. The distance between them felt fragile, something that could shatter or hold forever. Aarav smiled. Not his usual cocky grin, but something small, real, and almost shy. Maya felt her chest tighten. She didn't want to go, but she didn't know how to stay. A car passed between them, headlights briefly washing over their faces. Two silhouettes in the glow, divided yet connected. Her phone buzzed. A message from Riya. "So, how was the blind date?" Maya stared at it, unsure what to type. Aarav took out his phone too, typing her name, then deleting it before saving. He sighed. As she walked home, every drop of rain on her jacket felt like memory. Heavy, unshakable. He whispered into the empty night, "You're not what I expected." Later that night, Maya stood by her window, still in his jacket. It smelled faintly of rain and coffee. Aarav sat in his car, watching raindrops slide down the windshield. Every drop mirrored her face in his memory. Both lay awake in their separate beds, staring at the ceiling, thinking the same thought. What just happened? The narrator's voice lingered as night faded to dawn. Some goodbyes don't end things, they begin them. Maya walked into her office, coffee in one hand and determination in the other. New week, clean slate, she whispered. Her assistant hurried over. Maya, the client meeting got moved up to 10. Perfect, she said confidently. Let's impress them. At exactly 10, she entered the glass conference room. Slides ready, smile practiced. But when she looked up, her heart dropped. Aarav Malik, sitting at the head of the client table, pen in hand, same infuriating grin. Time seemed to pause. Their eyes met. Surprise, amusement, disbelief. Aarav stood, offering his hand. Miss Sharma, right? Pleasure to reconnect. Maya forced a smile. Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Her assistant whispered. You two know each other? Maya replied through gritted teeth. Unfortunately. She clicked through slides with practiced calm. Aarav watched, quietly impressed. The confidence in her voice, the grace. She changed. When it ended, he leaned in. Impressive work, Maya. She smirked. Surprised I can function without tripping? He leaned closer, lowering his voice. Just trying not to fall for the competition. She blinked, unsure if he was joking or confessing. During recess, Maya stepped into the office kitchen for coffee. Aarav appeared seconds later, holding his mug. Of course, she muttered. Can't escape you anywhere. Maybe it's destiny, he teased. Or punishment, she replied flatly. Her laughter escaped before she could stop it. He noticed that sound had stuck in his memory since the rain. He watched her walk away, confident, self-assured, untouchable. And yet, she'd never felt closer. Later, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. You forgot to say thank you. I made sure your pitch deck got extra time. She typed back. Thanks, I guess. Don't get used to it. He replied instantly. Too late. Despite herself, Maya smiled. It wasn't the annoying grin he used to bring out. It was something quieter. The narrator's voice whispered as the office scene faded out. Sometimes fate doesn't ask for permission. It just walks into your meeting, wearing the same smile that once drove you crazy. It had been 2 weeks since the reunion. Late nights, tight deadlines, and too many arguments. This design won't work, Aarav said sharply. Maya crossed her arms. That's because you don't understand subtlety. He leaned forward. You think perfection means control. And you think charm fixes everything, she fired back. Their voices rose, echoing off the glass walls. Colleagues outside pretended not to listen. You're still the same arrogant boy from college, she said. At least I grew up, he shot back. You just built walls higher. Her breath caught. His words hit deeper than he knew. For a long second, neither spoke. She turned away, blinking fast. You don't get to talk about my walls. You built yours out of jokes and lies. Aarav's voice softened. Maybe I just didn't know how else to talk to you. She turned, eyes narrowing. Why does everything you say sound like it means more than it should? The air between them thickened. Neither moved, yet everything felt dangerously close. She stepped back suddenly. Stop it. Whatever this is, it's not real. We're just stressed. Aarav's voice cracked. You keep pretending you don't feel anything because it's easier than getting hurt again. I don't need saving, Aarav, she yelled. And I don't need you telling me how to feel. He exhaled, quieter now. I never wanted to save you, Maya. I just wanted to matter. Tears threatened behind her eyes, but she held them back. You don't get to matter, she whispered. Not after everything. She grabbed her files and walked out. The sound of her heels echoed through the hall. Sharp, lonely, final. Aarav stood alone, hands trembling slightly. Rain streaked the windows behind him, matching his silence. The narrator's voice lingered softly. Sometimes we push away the ones who see us too clearly, not because they're wrong but because they're right. The office was silent now. Her chair sat empty, the faint scent of her perfume lingering in the air. Aarav stared at it as if waiting for her to walk back in. Her voice echoed in his head. You don't get to matter. He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling hard. Then why does it hurt this much? He remembered every sharp word he'd thrown at her, each one heavier now. I just wanted her to listen, he whispered. He rode down the empty elevator, watching his reflection blur in the polished walls. Outside, the city glowed, alive, uncaring, too bright for the heaviness in his chest. He pulled out his phone. Her chat was open, his message from earlier still marked, seen. No reply. He wandered without thinking until he found himself outside the same cafe where it all began. He saw flashes of that night, her laughter, her hair wet from rain, her teasing smile. He smiled faintly, eyes stinging. I messed up, he said quietly to no one. I wasn't angry at her. I was scared of her. He thought about how she challenged him, how she never backed down, how she made him feel alive again. His thumb hovered over her name on the screen. He started dialing, then stopped. She won't answer. The rain had softened into a drizzle, just enough to blur the streets and his thoughts. He walked without direction. He paused in front of a flower shop closing for the night. Bouquets of lilies and roses sat half-hidden under plastic wrap. He bought a single rose and tucked it into his jacket pocket, not to give but to remember. In her apartment, Maya sat by the window, staring into the rain. She felt the silence like a heartbeat she couldn't quiet. At the same time, across the city, Aarav stood by his own window, holding the rose, both lost in the same memory. He whispered into the silence, I can't lose her again. For once, it wasn't pride speaking, it was fear. The narrator's voice closed softly. Some people break you open not to hurt you, but to make you see what your heart's been hiding. The next morning, Aarav woke with a sense of clarity he hadn't felt in years. No more silence. He was going to fix this. He sat at his desk, sketching ideas and notes on paper, not for a project, but for her, for them. He remembered her saying once, a moment can change everything, if you're brave enough to create it. That evening, he returned to the cafe where they'd first met, now almost empty, bathed in golden lights and soft jazz. He spoke with the staff, rearranging tables, adding flowers, lighting candles. He wanted the night to mean something. He ordered her favorite dish, the same one from their first chaotic date. He texted her one simple line, one last dinner, no arguments, just listen. He waited nervously, staring at the door every few seconds. The clock ticked louder with each heartbeat. The door chimed. Maya stepped in, cautious, elegant, breathtaking even in simplicity. Her eyes widened when she saw the setup. He stood up instantly. You came. She crossed her arms, half smiling. You didn't give me much of a choice, did you? He gestured for her to sit. I messed up. I hurt you, and I can't take that back. But I can be honest now. I've spent so long hiding behind sarcasm, he said. It was easier than admitting I was scared. Scared of losing someone like you. Her expression softened, but her voice trembled. You really think one dinner fixes everything? No, he said quietly. But it's a start. He slid the single rose across the table. It's not an apology. It's a promise. I'll do better. She laughed through her tears. You really went all out, didn't you? I was out of options, he replied with a grin. She took a deep breath, finally sitting back. All right, Aarav. Let's see if this new you can keep up. Their hands met in the middle of the table. No hesitation this time. Just warmth. Just honesty. The narrator's voice ended softly as music swelled. Sometimes, love doesn't need grand words. Just one quiet moment where both hearts. The cafe had emptied, leaving only them. The quiet hum of music and the faint crackle of candlelight between them. Neither spoke. The silence wasn't uncomfortable anymore. It was sacred, filled with everything they hadn't said for years. Maya broke the stillness. You've always had a way of turning everything into chaos. He exhaled deeply. The truth is, I didn't hate you in college, Maya. I envied you. You were fearless. She blinked, taken aback. You envied me? He nodded. You made me want to be better. And that scared me. Maya's voice softened. I thought you mocked me because you hated me. I did. but only because I didn't know how to love you. Her breath caught. Her eyes glistened. You're serious? He nodded slowly. For once in my life, yes. She looked down. You hurt me. You made me feel small when all I wanted was to be seen. His voice broke. And that's my biggest regret. He reached across the table. I can't undo the past. But I can promise never to make you feel unseen again. Her hand trembled slightly, but she didn't pull away. You already see me, Aarav. That's what scares me most. He smiled through emotion. You still talk like a poet. And you still ruin the moment, she teased. They both laughed, real laughter. Their laughter faded, leaving only that gaze, the one that spoke louder than every confession. A single tear rolled down her cheek, and he reached out instinctively to brush it away. Gentle, reverent. I don't know where this goes, she whispered. He smiled. Me neither. But I want to find out, with you. He took her hand and placed it over his heart. This time, no games. The music in the cafe shifted. Soft piano, distant, timeless. They simply sat there, holding on to the quiet miracle of honesty. He leaned slightly forward. Not enough to cross the line, just enough to make her heart stop. She smiled and whispered, Not yet. The narrator's voice returned softly. When two hearts finally stop pretending, love doesn't begin. It simply remembers what it was always meant to be. A week after the confession, everything felt lighter. The world outside seemed warmer, brighter. Even the city noise sounded like music. At her desk, Maya's phone buzzed. An international number. She hesitated before answering. Hello. A polite voice replied. Miss Sharma? This is the Global Design Council. We'd like to offer you a lead position in Paris. Her heart raced. Paris. The dream she'd chased for years. Right when life had started to feel full here. She hung up and stared out the window. Excitement wrestled with dread. The future had come knocking, but love was already home. She sat for hours unable to work. It's my dream job. But what about him? The question looped endlessly. That evening, Aarav called. Dinner tonight? She hesitated. Sure, she said softly, voice trembling. They met at their usual spot. Everything looked the same, yet the air felt heavier. She smiled too perfectly, he sensed it. So, he said casually, you've been quiet lately. She forced a smile. Just a lot on my plate. He studied her eyes, the same eyes that used to challenge him, now hiding something. You're leaving, aren't you? Her fork froze midair. How did you? I could see it, he said quietly. You always look away when you're about to break my heart. I didn't want to tell you like this, she whispered. It's everything I worked for. He nodded. And I'd never ask you to give it up. But you hate goodbyes, she said. Maybe, he smiled faintly. But I hate regrets more. They sat in silence, the city moving outside as if unaware of the storm between them. He stood first, eyes glistening. If this is your dream, go chase it. She whispered. And if you're my dream? He pulled her close. No words, just a heartbeat pressed against another. A silent promise neither could keep. She walked out slowly, rain kissing her cheeks, or maybe tears did. Aarav watched until she vanished into the night. He returned to the empty table, the single candle flickering weakly, her chair still warm. The narrator's voice lingered softly. Sometimes love doesn't end in anger. It ends in silence, the kind that says, I'll wait, even if you never come back. Paris shimmered in the morning light. Elegant, timeless, distant. Maya walked across a bridge, coffee in hand, wrapped in quiet thoughts. Her designs were featured in magazines, her name carried weight now. Yet, every success echoed hollow without the voice that once teased her. She stood in a crowded awards ceremony, surrounded by applause but feeling utterly alone. On her way home, she passed a small cafe, and for a second, the smell of roasted coffee and soft jazz pulled her back to him. She opened her phone and scrolled through an unsent text. I still miss you. Her thumb hovered. Then she locked the screen. Her assistant entered the next morning, excited. The new client for our international collaboration. It's from India. The rep's name is Aarav Malik. Her chest tightened. The name she'd whispered in dreams suddenly existed again in daylight. A week later, her plane landed back home. The city lights below shimmered like a heartbeat waiting for her. She walked out of the terminal, the humid air greeting her like a memory. Every street, every sound whispered his name. When she entered the conference room for the collaboration meeting, he was already there. Leaning casually against the table, smiling. Neither spoke. Months apart vanished in a heartbeat. The room felt too small for everything unsaid. "So," he said lightly, "how's Paris treating you?" She smirked. "Expensive. And lonely." He leaned in softly. "You know, I kept waiting for your message." "I wrote one," she said, 100 times. "I was angry," he admitted, "but I realized I wasn't mad at you for leaving. I was mad at myself for not asking you to stay." She smiled, eyes glistening. "You always were bad at timing," he chuckled. "And you always loved being right." He reached into his briefcase and pulled out something. A small, pressed rose, perfectly preserved. Her breath caught. "You kept it." "Of course," he said gently. "It's what started everything." As the camera pulled back, their silhouettes glowed in soft morning light. Sometimes love doesn't need to find its way back. It just waits for the right time to bloom. A new morning spilled light through the city. The rain was gone, replaced by sunshine, soft, forgiving, endless. They met again at their cafe. No candles this time, no tension, just quiet smiles and 2 steaming cups. Neither needed to fill the air with words. Every pause felt natural now, like breathing in rhythm. "You still overthink everything," Aarav said with a grin. She smirked. "And you still talk too much." He stared at her with a softness that needed no translation. Her gaze met his steady, certain home. Aarav cleared his throat. "The collaboration's ending soon. What if we built something together? Our own firm?" Maya smiled faintly. "You really think we'd survive working together?" He grinned. "We survived everything else." For a brief moment, they both remembered. The rainstorm, the fight, the laughter, the rose. Every scar now looked like a map leading here. She whispered, "I never really left, you know? Not completely." He smiled. "Good. I never stopped waiting." He pulled from his pocket something small, the same pressed rose now framed in glass. A reminder. Even distance can't kill what's real. Her eyes filled with tears, but her lips curved upward. "You kept everything." He nodded. "Everything worth keeping." Later, they walked through the park, laughter mingling with birdsong. Life felt simpler now, light, complete. A breeze passed. Their fingers brushed. This time, neither pulled away. Their hands found each other like they always belonged. No grand declarations. No music swells. Just peace, the kind that only comes after surviving every storm together. He looked up at the clouds. "Funny how we started with a blind date we didn't want." She laughed. "And ended with a love we didn't expect." He reached into his briefcase and pulled out something. A small, pressed rose, perfectly preserved. They stood together watching the horizon. No future promises, just presence, real and certain. The narrator's voice closed the story in a soft whisper. They met as rivals, argued as fools, fell as dreamers, and rose as one. Sometimes the best love stories aren't about finding someone new, but seeing the same person in a new light. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our upcoming updates.